Democratic Alliance in Gauteng just presented its own alternative State of the Province address. Obviously, they're raising quite an array of issues facing the province. And of course, the issue of the economic development is always the most foremost issue when it comes to the State of the Province address. But of course, there's a degree of fatigue when it comes to a wish list. So now there's a concerted effort for the Premier to make sure that come Tuesday, real issues are being discussed. And joining us now is the caucus leader here in Gauteng for the party, Mr. Msimang. Thank you so much indeed for your time.
Thank you very much, Kaya.
Let us look at the issue. For example, you're talking about e-toll. You're saying the system is unsustainable, it's unaffordable, it must be scrapped. Obviously, we've been talking about this issue for the longest time.
Well, we have, and we have, provided solutions to the problem. Unfortunately, it's something that it's now becoming a football in the ANC itself, where you hear the Premier saying one thing, or the ANC in Gauteng saying one thing, and then you hear the ANC at a national level saying another, i.e., the Minister of Finance saying the e-tolls are here to stay, we better get used to it. And I think it's something that, the people of Gauteng are saying, we don't mind paying. But we want to pay for a just system. We've been consulted on that system. We agree that we can see where the money is going. Right now, the system that is there actually sees the majority of that money leaving, the country and leaving very little to go to a Central for future road upgrades and future road building. So that is something that is of a concern to us. And we have been providing solutions to the Premier. Unfortunately, we have been met with arrogance and deaf ears.
And also another very critical issue is the issue of energy. Energy security. Gauteng is the country's economic hub. So I would imagine you're also saying that they must try to initiate their own energy through the private investment so that we try and mitigate the very bad impact of load shedding.
Well, look, Gauteng already have some infrastructure, already here that actually can go a long way in assisting when it comes to energy security. We have the Kelvin Power Station as but one of the examples which, we can look into. And there's an array of those across Gauteng that we should be tapping into. You cannot talk about a sustainable economy that is growing if you're not able to secure the energy in a particular province, especially when we hear of industrialization, when we're talking about modernization. You are going to need a constant and stable flow of electricity. And if you're not going to be able to do that, believe you me, you have investors that are fleeing, and you have investors that are not sure whether investing in Gauteng and indeed in South Africa in general becomes a good idea.
And maybe just before I let you go, sir, the racial relations in South Africa, once again we're seeing the social cohesion being challenged with the system that we once had of apartheid, where there was a whole argument whether was it a crime against humanity. Do you think the Premier of Gauteng should prioritize this issue as well as part of trying to forge a new nation, as it were?
Well, Kaya, we have been saying for the longest of time, don't just talk, but implement. We've heard about this township revitalization program, which we know most of the businesses in the township are owned by black people. Now, you're talking about empowering black people, the same people that you're failing to pay. Gauteng is owing small businesses right now 2.6 billion rand in debts and in invoices that haven't been paid over 30 days. Now, for somebody who's running a small business, it's not sustainable to be owed, chunks of money, and you have suppliers that you need to pay, you have employees that you need to pay. So, in you not being able to receive, your money for services rendered, you then are not able to pay your employees, you are not able to pay your suppliers, which then means more businesses are affected, but also more lives are destroyed, and people are now subjected to poverty. So we cannot now talk about how we address the injustices of the past when we have the tools to begin to address those, but we fail to address those.
All right, so thank you so much indeed for your time. So that was the DA's caucus leader here in Gauteng, Msimang, really talking about the key issues ahead of tomorrow, where Gauteng Premier David Makhura will be tabling the State of the Province address.